What is up? What is up? Stacey Blackwood, Jake Thomas here with Tide Talk Live as Alabama survives and advances with a thrilling 29-22 victory over South Carolina there in Columbia. Jake, what a football game. What a tough win for the Crimson Tide. What a job to hang in there mentally, make the plays when you have to make them, and come away with a victory. What a great win. Can't wait to talk about that. Real quick, we're going to get this out of the way super quick. Like, share, subscribe. Find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We are powered by the Believe Network. Thank you so much to those guys. Jump in the live chat. Let's get this thing rolling. If you give us a super chat, you will definitely have your question or comment read on air. If not, we'll try to get to it as best we can. But roll tide, everybody. Welcome into the show. Jake, what a freaking win.
Man, Stacey, that's my voice is a little bit gone. Doing a lot of hollering in front of the TV today, but yeah, man, it looked kind of bleak there. For most of the game, we just could not do anything offensively, and defense played lights out. They just had a couple of blemishes, but they played really well, kept us in the ball game, and then finally the offense woke up in the fourth quarter when it needed to, and poured out a win, man. What a great team win this was. Mentality, physicality, and toughness, and also adversity as well. So, I hope this gives us some momentum going into the bye week to find what we got to work on to get better and come out the bye week with a different team.
Boy, the bye week couldn't have come at a better time, Jake, in my opinion. The way the last stretch of 4 games where you play 4 ranked teams and you win all those games, a couple of them, you really kind of have your way. Then you go on the road and play an inferior South Carolina team, and you don't play your best offensively at all. You probably play your worst offensive game since the Florida State game, and it might have been even worse than the Florida State game in terms of just not doing the little things right.
Right.
Like completing the pass when he's open, hitting him in the hands, drop pass after drop pass. And it wasn't just Ryan today. It was Germ. It was Rico. But like you said, the toughness of this team, the mentality of this team showed up and showed out in a big way.
Yeah, it is, Stacey. And again, adversity as well. I guess a lot of people is going to, had a feeling, how has I been going to respond to adversity? Because we really had seen much of it since the loss of Florida State. But having, one thing that Alabama has done well all season long is time of possession, and South Carolina used that against us today because they held the ball the longest. And that's the thing I wanted to see. How was we going to respond? Not being on the field a lot offensively, and how the mentality, like you said, was going into a game, especially in the fourth quarter, where we was down and we had to have a score, not just a field goal. We had to have a touchdown there late in the game to tie, and then to get the 2-point conversion as well.
If you had any questions about the toughness of this team, how this team would respond to adversity, I think all that was answered. I mean, Williams-Brice is one of the toughest places to play in the country. It's really extremely underrated because their teams are, South Carolina's never just always relevant like this year, but that crowd was into it. As Rick and Bonnie pointed out, the students tried to get down to the field early and get a head start on rushing the field in case they pulled off the upset. But man, what a way for Alabama to kind of hit them with a dagger there, Jake. And we'll get to our overall thoughts of the game here in just a minute, but I can't leave this opening segment without just continuing to reiterate how proud this kind of win is for a fan. Because look, it's great to go on the road and beat a good team like Georgia. It's great to go on the road and beat a good team like Missouri. It's great to win against a ranked Vanderbilt, against a ranked Tennessee, winning that rivalry game. But when you face adversity for the first time in about 6 or 8 weeks, however long it's been since then, since the Florida State game, and you respond in the fourth quarter down the stretch the way you do on both sides of the football, the offense has to have have a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. You get it. The defense needs to stop. Not only do they get a stop, they force a turnover and set the offense up in prime position to either kick a game-winning field goal or put the ball in the end zone. And the offense delivers.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's what toughness is. That's what resilience is. That's what's playing fourth quarters is all about. It's a 60-minute ball game for a reason, and Alabama played for 60 minutes. And I couldn't be more proud of the effort they gave there in that fourth quarter to come away with a win over South Carolina.
Yeah, absolutely, Stacy. And like you said, Williams-Brice is a very tough place to play. I know South Carolina is not their best, right? This year, but they are very tough at home. If this would have been a true night game, it could have turned a different way the way Alabama played because it's just a different animal at night there. But like you said, this team continued to fight, continued to play. They did not play well the first 3.5 quarters on offense. I mean, abysmally, could not move the ball at all, and just finding a way there late to get the touchdown, then the 2-point conversion, and then sealing the dagger with Germ running on that little sweep.
What footwork down the sideline?
Man, yeah, that was perfect footwork by him. But in a game like this, you need your playmakers to show up. And at the end of the game, Germ showed up, and then a leader of the defense, Deontay Lawson, showed up. So couldn't have been a better outcome for Alabama for sure.
I want to get this comment real quick by DG. He said, I thought Ty showed a lot of maturity at the end after missing some throws, having some drops. He's just a winner. It doesn't get down, just keeps playing. That's what you have to have when you're the quarterback. It's what you have to have. When you're the quarterback of a championship level team, you just have to keep playing.
Right.
It's not always going to be perfect. You're not always going to be at your best. Your receivers are not always going to be at their best. Your offensive line's not always going to be at their best. But you just got to keep your head down, keep playing, play within the offense, and execute what you can execute. And that's what Ty did, and he delivered for Alabama. I mean, he just delivered for Alabama down the stretch. So did Germ. So did I thought Jam Miller ran so hard late in that game. Daniel Hill made a lot of plays, and we'll get into all that here in just a minute. But man, what a win for Alabama, 29-22 over South Carolina. Just showed a lot of grit, Jake. Showed a lot of grit to come away with that win, and just you couldn't ask for a better way to kind of send the team off into a bye week before they get to the stretch of LSU, Oklahoma. Of course, you got to play Eastern Illinois and then Auburn. So the season's winding down. You're sitting at 7-1, and what is it? 4-0 in SEC play?
Yeah, man, haven't lost a game yet.
4-0 in SEC, or is it 5-0?
Might be 5-0. So Georgia, Missouri, Vandy,
Tennessee, and
Tennessee.
5-0.
5-0.
5-0. Just 3 conference games remaining. So, what a way to enter the bye week, Jake. So let's actually get into the meat and potatoes of the game and how it kind of played out. Let's start, Jake, with the offensive line. I'm going to let you talk about the offensive line first because I think I'm going to have a different opinion from everybody else about this.
Well, I'm sitting here thinking, and the first 3 quarters was not good, at all. They had a lot of, they got to Ty a good bit, but in that fourth quarter, Ty had really late in the third quarter, really too. He had a lot of clean pocket to throw from, and I think it was in the third quarter where he just sailed one to German Bernard across the middle. That was the best pocket he had up until that point to throw out of, and just sailed on him. But in the fourth quarter and the crunch situation, this offensive line held up. It wasn't the best play by them. They have a lot that they can work on. But again, when it mattered and you needed guys to step up, they stepped up and was able to deliver a clean pocket win for Ty Simpson when needed.
Absolutely. And I'm going to say this. There was obviously if you're not a part of our Discord server, Ty Talk Live, you need to join that. We had a lot of fun and a lot of back and forth today during the matchup. And the offensive line was not great. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. You can't come up with any excuse or any kind of reasons but in pass protection on the road, again, in an environment like you're in South Carolina, and you don't have a threat of a running game, your offensive tackles are at a big time disadvantage
Right.
because the eventually the defensive line is going to figure out your snap count because you're clapping, so they're going to get that timed out and they're going to be getting after you. So you're at a bad disadvantage on the road when you play at an environment like South Carolina. So that's one of the reasons it was not as good as it could be, or as good as it was last week against Tennessee at home, who has just as good as pass rush as what South Carolina has.
Right.
So it's not that Alabama can't pass block. We saw them pass block great last week against two really good edge rushers, just like South Carolina has. So playing on the road as an offensive tackle, when the crowd gets into it, when they figure out your snap count, when you don't have a good running game to counteract the pass rush, they're going to tee off on you and they're going to have an advantage over your offensive tackle. So that does explain a little bit what was going on. But like you mentioned, I thought really in the entire second half, for the most part, the offensive line did a really good job in pass protection. Now, run blocking, I thought they missed some guys, some free rushers on run blocking, especially up the middle. Between the tackles, whether it was Dewberry, I think we need a little better play from our guards. If I'm speaking candidly in terms of running the football, if that could get a little better, the running game would get a little better. I thought Jam a couple times had some opportunities, but tippy-toed a little bit too much. I like what I'm seeing from Daniel Hill. He continues to make plays. But overall, I thought the offensive line finished the game extremely strong and, like the rest of the offense, made the plays they had to make to win the football game.
Yeah, Stacey. Second half, like you mentioned, the offensive line played a lot better. They have a lot to work on, but overall in the second half, they showed up and was able to keep Ty upright, and Ty started then making some plays, especially there in the fourth quarter when he needed to.
In terms of on the opposite side of the ball, what do you come away most concerned with?
Uh, of course, the rushing games got to get better. But we talked about a little bit about that. You did, Stacey. But I think the biggest thing that I see that can help that, there was a kind of, I guess it's like a toss to the outside where we had Parker Brailsworth, as a lead blocker. I think it was Daniel Hill who got that. I mean, he got like 11 yards on that play because I don't get.
If you get him moving in space, it's hard to get him down.
It is, and you saw that whenever on the sideline on that. I think it was like 3rd and 20. We just threw it out there to him, and they missed a tackle, and he went right down the yard and got like 30 yards. He was our leading receiver, by the way, today. He was just a menace on the field. But I think one thing that could help that is getting to outside the tackles, running the ball, doing a lot more jet sweeps. We didn't see that just a couple of times. I know one time they was keen right in on it, but I think we had a missed assignment that got back there and made the stop. And then I'm not really worried about the drops. I think a lot of that had to do with where they were playing at and the crowd noise. And another thing I really think hurt is I think we was missing Lottie Brooks. Lottie Brooks has been a big part of this offense the last couple of weeks.
He's a chain mover. He's a chain mover.
He is. And we just didn't have that thread, and they kind of bottled up Germ and Williams as much as they could. Both of them didn't really have great games. They had really good games. They didn't have like a standout game. And I thought Rico Scott did okay as well, but it just seemed like, we just got to get healthy. Losing Danny Lewis as well on the, at tight end, especially running the ball, didn't help in this game either. So getting healthy, I think will help. The rushing attack. We've talked about that for 3 or 4 weeks now. I just see it getting better if we just change just a few things about maybe getting on the outside and run the ball more.
Yeah, you mentioned not having Latsier Brooks today. That was a big call, and I'm trying to find the tweet. I'm pretty sure it was from Clint Lamb, where he talked about how Latsier Brooks has been a chain mover for Alabama this year.
Yep.
I want to say like all but like 2 of his catches have been for first downs this year.
Wow.
So when you're missing that part of your offense, that's huge. So not having him hurt, and of course Isaiah Horton went down, and it kind of
Yep.
he wasn't out there as well. So you're missing two of your top four receivers in the game. So it just tough. And I thought, Ryan Williams had the one drop, but overall he played a really good football game, made some tough
Mm-hmm.
plays, picked up
Yep.
a couple tough first downs. Uh, and it wasn't Ty's best day by any stretch of the imagination. Missed some deep shots, missed Jerm Bernard over the middle of the field that would have been a for sure touchdown.
Yeah.
Either underthrew or overthrew some deep balls. So I think if he can develop that part of his game a little bit, man, this offense could be really good, along with being able to implement a little bit of a rushing attack. But I thought one thing Alabama didn't do today that they've done all season to help kind of give an extension to the running game was quick passes to the outside. There was
Right.
not any of that today. Only a couple times that happened. And they've done that all year long to kind of help supplement what they lack in a traditional running game.
Right.
So that wasn't there today either. So I thought it was just kind of a mess on offense for a big portion of the game. But once again, you made the plays when it mattered most. And I mean, as a fan, that's really all you can ask for.
Yeah, that's right, Stacy. There's a lot that needs to be cleaned up, and they got an off week to get healthy to clean up things, and then we've got another tough stretch coming up because LSU. I know they don't look the best, but they're probably going to get up for us like they always do. Oklahoma, they're not looking the best right now, but anything can happen. And then, of course, Jordan Hare. And honestly, that Jordan Hare Auburn matchup has gotten a little bit more interesting because they're probably going to be a 5-win team needing a win against Alabama to become bowl eligible. And, Jordan Hare is weird, man. It's weird.
Let's worry about that game when we get there. I don't even want to
Right.
think about that.
I know.
Hey, surprise stat of the night. If I were to tell fans that Alabama averaged the same yards per carry as South Carolina, I don't think anybody would believe me.
Wow. That is very surprising.
Both teams averaged 3.2 yards a carry.
Dang. Wow. Yeah.
And I don't come at me with, well, Germ's touchdown at the end count as a rush. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's part of it.
Right.
I mean, that was a run.
It was a run.
I can't stand. To me, the one thing that bothers me is I hate that sacks are counted as rushing yards.
Right.
I wish they could do something about that stat because it does that stat does skew
Yeah.
the rushing numbers.
Yeah, I agree.
But I feel like both teams were sacked a pretty good bit today.
Yeah. And since we're talking about stats, we want to just go ahead and jump to the defense. If you got something else you want to talk about on the offense?
I don't think so. I guess if you had to pick an offensive MVP, who would you go with?
I would probably go with Daniel Hill.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's between three guys.
Mm-hmm.
I think Daniel Hill, he would be my third option.
Mm-hmm.
My number one is Germ. Number two would be Ty, and number three would be Daniel Hill. And I know people are going to come at me because Ty didn't play his best, but hey, he played his best when his best was required.
Yeah. And Ryan might be a fourth option.
Yeah, and I thought Ryan made some plays in that game as well.
Right.
And Cuevas, man, he's another chain mover in this offense.
He is. Yeah, he's the guy that they just, 3rd and 5, just tell him find the sticks and sit, and Ty will find you. And he does. He does a great job at it.
All right, Jake, like you mentioned, let's go ahead and move to the defensive side of the football. I'll let you once again go first because I do have a lot to say about the defense today.
What I can say is, man, when the game's on the line, this defense just steps up. I don't know what it is, and as much as there was something that was posted, and I'm gonna plug our Discord. If you have a Discord, join our server. We have a good time in there. But somebody had made the comment that maybe Ken Womack don't need to watch film because he just watches what happened on the first drive of every game and then adjusts from there. And that's what we did. We gave up the touchdown, and then
3. It was just 3. It was just
It was
3.
just 3, but then he adjusts, and the defense really played well. The big thing I think, and he had one reception all day. Nick Harbor,
The one guy you couldn't let
yeah,
get behind you, you let get behind you.
yeah, but other than that, we held him in check, and that's huge because I really think that this South Carolina team was going to try to find him and get him involved early on, and I don't know who he's matched up against, but just that one play we let him get behind us, and that dude is fast. Oh my gosh, he's fast.
Yeah,
Xavier Brown,
he's an Olympic sprinter. I mean, that's
right? Yeah, he is fast, and I was like, wow, that dude's got speed. But you know, we kept him in check, and then Lenore Sellers, he's made some magic. It's so hard to get him down because he's so good, but we had opportunities. Yeah, Ted captain, we had opportunities to take him down, and somehow he still gets out of them. But for the most part, we held him in check today as well, and that's two guys that this second offense needed to have big games against us, and we really did enough to stop both of them, and that's one of the reasons why this defense had a big game.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I can't say enough good things about the defense.
Yeah.
The offense for 3/4 of this game did absolutely nothing to help the defense.
Right.
I mean, nothing. They wasn't even picking up first downs.
No.
I mean, I don't know how many 3 and outs we had. It felt like a bunch. It probably wasn't a bunch. You get in the motion of the game, and it feels worse than what it is. But it felt like the offense had a bunch of 3 and outs.
Was 8 of 16 on third downs. So
yeah. That's not as good as it needs to be.
No.
I mean, it's not just absolutely putrid, but it's not as good as it needs to be. And I bet most of those third down conversions was in the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
Certainly
for sure.
felt like it.
Yeah.
But didn't do a good enough job moving the chains on offense. So the defense was on the field a ton in this game.
Yep.
I mean, I think the time of possession ended up being around. Let me find it here.
It was 33 to 26-39 in favor of South Carolina.
Yeah. So and the truth is, now Alabama controlled the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
I bet they probably had the ball for about 8 to 10 minutes of that fourth quarter.
Yeah, I felt like they did.
And so the first 3 quarters, the defense was on the field about 75% of the time.
Yeah.
And the fact that they were able to only give up 22 points when you're on the field that much, I don't know what the number of plays South Carolina ran, but it was a bunch.
Mm-hmm.
And the defense just kept answering the bell. I mean, just stop after stop after stop, forcing turnovers. I mean, just making the plays that you have to make if you want to win a tough football game when the other side of the ball is not doing their job or doing what they can to help you win the game. So defensively, I couldn't be more proud of the effort they gave. Now, look, I know South Carolina's not a great offense, but they put everything they had in this game.
They did.
They put absolutely everything they had in this game, and Alabama ripped their heart out.
Yeah.
And a lot of the credit has to go to Kane Womack and the Alabama defense. You get a pick six, you force a fumble late in the game, and that's what wins you the football game.
Yeah.
Timely stops on defense, just like last week against Tennessee, and forcing turnovers and getting a non-offensive touchdown, which I called, by the way. I said we'd get another non-offensive touchdown.
Yep.
And it happened. So just kudos to Kane Womack and this defense. And what has changed for this defense the last few weeks is the ability to put pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah, big time.
And you mentioned a minute ago, tip of the hat to freaking Lenore Sellers. He's like trying to tackle Jerome Bettis back there.
Yes, he
is a tank, man. That dude is huge.
Yeah. But you got to look at how many times we was back there and he just somehow got out of it. I'm impressed. We had a lot of stunts, and even there was a play where Pierre didn't get to him, but he got his hand up and forced for a 3 and out. It was like a 3rd and 6.
That's as good as a sack to me.
Yeah, to me too. I mean, if you can't get to him, get your hands up and anything can happen.
Man, just a great defensive performance in terms of they had to do a lot, I mean, in terms because the offense wasn't doing much, and they just kept answering the bell and
Right.
making winning plays. And to me, out like you said, outside the one long touchdown pass to Harbor, it's hard to find much blame to give the defense because I thought they played a pretty good football game. And also the offense would go for it a couple times on fourth down and gave South Carolina some really good position.
Yep.
We muff a punt thing, and I want to talk about that for just a second because
Mm-hmm.
we had this discussion in our Discord.
Yeah.
People are on Jalen Mbakwe. I was a punt returner in high school, and I know it's just high school, but I think the same thing applies to any level of football.
I think it
When you're
should.
when you're the return guy, your job, other 10 guys on the field have their backs to the ball because they're trying to block. Guess what? For you. So
Mm-hmm.
your job as the return guy is one of two things: to either make sure you field the ball or you make sure you get so far away from the plate, everybody else knows they need to get away too.
Right.
So you're hollering whatever your hot word is for that moment to get out of the way. You don't run up that close to the ball to where it's going to land and allow your teammate to be that close to where the ball is going to be landing at. You can see where the ball is going to land at, and you can see where your teammate is. It's your job to field the ball and or to make sure your teammates get out of the way.
Right.
All Jalen Mbakwe was doing there was trying to throw a block for his punt returner.
Yeah.
I'm not going to beat up that guy for that.
Right. No, I agree. I agree. You've got to be more disciplined there as Cole Adams,
Yeah.
and if you need to go up there and field that ball, or you need to holler at Mbakwe and say move, 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 move something. Whatever, like you said, your hot word is.
Well, and maybe he was hollering move, but you can't be that close to the ball either.
No, you can't. You can't.
Because what happened is if you back away, even if it does hit Mbakwe, at least you give yourself an opportunity to jump on the football.
Right. You
But
just get laid
because
out.
he got right up there on he allowed his teammate to lay him out.
Yeah. And, you know,
So I'm not blaming Mbakwe for that.
no, I'm not either. But that right there just shows the kind of just crazy stuff that happened in this game today for Alabama. We talked about offensive woes. We talked about that, and we just like you said multiple times on our Discord, says just could not get out of our own way.
Yeah, that's
But
all this game was, Jake.
right,
Self-inflicted wounds. And look, it's one thing to lose a football game because you have a lot of self-inflicted wounds, but when you find a way to win
well,
after playing 3/4 of a football game by just, kind of shooting yourself in the foot,
yeah,
kudos to this team, Jake. Kudos to this
absolutely.
coaching staff for just
And
staying the course,
yep, and I
playing the
want
next play. Go ahead.
yeah, and I want to say one thing. I think the German Bernard touchdown run and got us amped up, but I'm going to tell you, I think that showed on that kickoff, because QB Reese went down there like a madman and laid out that guy. I was like, oh my gosh, you can see that kid. He ain't seen the field a lot, but I think he's got a bright future when he finally does. Kind of like a Pierre guy. He's not ready yet, but he's going to be good, just like Pierre has been once his numbers finally called.
Yeah, I want to touch on the end of the football game from not only the special teams but the defense real quick before we start to wrap things up,
Mhm.
because I always have a quick phone call with my dad after every game,
Mhm.
and I told him, I said, "That's how you finish a football game." And I
Yeah.
wasn't even talking about the touchdown to win the game. I'm
Mhm.
talking about the way QB Reese flew down the field and laid out the kick returner, and I'm
Yeah.
talking about the way the defense on the first down play pressured Sellers, and then he threw it to the tight end, and we lit the tight end up.
Yeah.
And then on the next play, you sack Sellers. That's how you finish a football game.
Right. Yep.
By making a statement, by stepping on their throat, and that's what Alabama did, and that's that's what championship teams do, and that really fired me up, and
Yeah.
I couldn't be more proud of the way this team finished that football game.
Yeah, Stacey, I'm with you. It looked bleak, but they found a way to win. And like in championship teams and adversity situations, they find ways to win. They've got a lot to clean up. I'm not going to say that they're the number one team to and is going to win the championship, but they are good enough to win one. And now they've got the adversary behind them and all that. They can just go out and play football now.
Absolutely, absolutely. What a great win. Anybody else got anything else in the chat they want to discuss before we start to wrap the show up? Because
Um,
that was a lot of fun.
yeah, and I just want to say real quick again, I feel like our linebacking core had another solid day.
Absolutely.
Green Hill or Hill Green had a great day. Lost him with that strip fumble. He had a really good day. Jefferson, I think, laid out Sellers at one point on a sack, and then Pierre, he just coming to his own. So our
Pierre's
linebacker,
so disruptive.
he is, and our linebacking core in the last couple of games for sure has made the difference. I feel like they're getting better each and every week.
Yeah, I'll point this out real quick.
Mm-hmm.
DG says this bye week couldn't have came at a better time. We need to get healthy for the end of the year. Yeah, there's a lot of guys that are just beat up and banged up, and guys who are sitting out right now. That I
Yep.
mean, you look at the availability report, and it feels like half the roster's out right now.
That's
But
what happens when we play in the SEC.
it is, and it's just
I mean,
it's unfortunate. And also, one thing to point out: South Carolina's played a big portion this year with a bunch of injured offensive linemen. They only
yeah.
had one guy out this week. Everybody else was back healthy. I
Yep.
thought they did okay, but Alabama put a lot of pressure on Sellers. They didn't really allow much in the running game outside of Sellers, and a lot of that was just because we couldn't bring the big sucker down. But
Right.
I mean, that he's just a freaking beast.
Yeah,
Beast.
he is. And we kept Dylan Stewart in check. He did not have a sack today, which was huge.
Yeah, just
So,
2 sacks allowed today. That's
right. I'm fine with that.
if you would. It felt like 20.
Yeah, it
But
did.
one thing, and kudos to Ty. He's
Mhm.
got that good internal clock to get rid of that football.
Yep. Mhm.
All right, guys. I guess that's going to wrap it up. What a fun show. What a great win. Look, any win in the SEC on the road is a big time win.
It is.
Just ask anybody else. I mean, look at what Ole Miss did today at Oklahoma. What a good win for Lane Kiffin and that program. I think now they might cakewalk to the college football playoff. I mean,
Yeah,
the rest of that schedule is pretty easy for them.
it is.
Relatively easy.
Relatively easy. Yep. But Lane just loses one he shouldn't, though. It
He
just seems
should,
like
yeah, he does. He
Yep.
does.
Kentucky last year.
Yep. All right, guys. Well, that's going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for watching and really enjoyed it, Jake. A couple things. Make sure you do like, share, and subscribe here on YouTube. If you're watching the recorded version of this, jump in the comments and give us your thoughts on Alabama's 29-22 win over the South Carolina Gamecocks. Excited to get into the bye week and kind of refresh and hit that restart button and look forward to the back portion of this season for the Crimson Tide. We also are powered by the Believe Networks, which makes us free and available wherever you get your podcast. So make sure you subscribe and download and follow wherever you get your podcast. But for Stacey Blackwood and for Jake Thomas, this has been Tide Talk Live with a fun post-game show after Alabama's electric come-from-behind win in Columbia, 29-22 over South Carolina. But we'll see you guys real soon. And until then, roll Tide.
Roll Tide.